So if you haven't seen the reports, it's being reported on literally everything that the Switch 2 had been delayed to the beginning of next year, and a lot of people are like, okay, how can you delay something that has never been officially announced? People are silly, yeah, I can understand that. But when you look at the lineup that's actually coming out this year, it's pretty bare bones. And I mean extremely bare minimum of what we were receiving. We have no clue of a next big huge game coming out. We don't have anything slated for this holiday. And yes, Pokemon Presents just happened and they revealed Pokemon Legends Z, which is probably going to hype the entire world up, but the problem with it is it's not coming until 2025. Well, it's not really a problem because we definitely need the Pokemon team to take their time with this game, but it does show what's coming out this year is absolutely nothing. Still, so far, the only new game that we know about is Princess Peach Showtime, and the rest is Luigi's Mansion 2 and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, old games from the GameCube and the 3DS. So people that continue to say the phrase, how can Switch 2 be delayed when it hasn't been announced yet, just look at the lineup and it tells a lot. It tells that Nintendo really probably didn't have anything planned for this year because the Switch 2 was initially going to launch at the end of the year, which means they didn't have to release anything, you know? They could end the year with Luigi's Mansion 2 and of course Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door before moving on to the next console. It would have been perfect. But obviously now, times have changed, and if the Switch 2 is being pushed back to next year, they have a kind of empty slot. But the question is, why is Nintendo pushing the Switch 2 back? Well, there's been a lot of reports as to why, but it's pretty evident as to why if you really think about it. And I'm here to tell you why they probably pushed it back. Yeah, I know, a lot of whys, but thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, a lot of you guys watching right now are not yet subscribed, so it'll only take a quick second. Let me know how hyped you are for this new Switch 2 and the new software coming to it by leaving a like and subscribing. Alright, now let's jump into the video. With Switch 2 seemingly being delayed, let's talk about why it actually got delayed in the first place, or, you know, at least if that's what happened. You know, we don't know for sure until Nintendo opens their mouths, but let's try to speculate if this is the case. Now, the first thing we've been hearing is to combat scalpers, and we know this is always a big problem when a new console releases. You know, people try to pre-order like 7, 8 of them in order to just sell them, you know, resell them for a higher price. And yeah, it's always annoying. It's always the most annoying part of this because the real gamers are trying to get their hands on these things and people are out there just trying to make money on the new unit. So Nintendo maybe is trying to maximize how many units that they have on the market by pushing it back a little bit to give them more time to make more units to fill up in more stores, which is just smart. It makes a lot of sense, even though I feel like this is something that should have been planned a while ago. You know, it's been 7 years since Switch, but regardless, I completely understand that, so maybe it just wants to take a little bit more time. But there's been another report that just stuck with me, and it makes the most sense for me. And that report is Nintendo wants more from their publishing partners, and that they want to wait until they have a better game lineup. Now, this does make the most sense. When you release a new console, I feel like one of the biggest mistakes a lot of companies out there make is that they released a new console without having any big games on it. They're just like, here's a new fresh console that you had to wait a couple of months until some of the bigger games come out. I mean, the Xbox Series X definitely did that because I had this big old brick in my house I couldn't do nothing with. And for Nintendo, it's really all about their games. Yes, their consoles are important, but the games is what sell their units. It's the reason why people want to buy Nintendo consoles in the first place, is because a lot of their games, well, most of their games are games that you cannot get on any other console. You can only play Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart on this console. Same with Pokemon games. That doesn't mean Nintendo can just release a box and just say, hey, come play this. You know, it has to be some type of fundamentally strong console. I'm sure the next console is going to be just like the Switch, but stronger, better, and just, you know, more upgraded in different UI aspects and just the different hardware parts of it. But still, you know, people are ready for that next big Mario. You know what I mean? So that is what is going to sell the new console. If Nintendo's not ready and, you know, they drop this console with maybe just one new game and they still don't have any other games ready for the thing for the next couple of months or something, it could definitely impact sales. So if Nintendo wants to come out the gate with a super strong launch lineup, which I think they might, considering the fact that the last time they went from a Wii to a Wii U type of situation, it didn't do so hot. So Nintendo's going to want to come out the gate with some big bangers, and they definitely have some in the pipeline if it's time for them at least. Now here's what's interesting, okay? Does Nintendo have multiple launch games or like a whole bunch of games coming like 1 month after the other or something that they want to just line up for next year? Because personally, all I thought they needed was a new 3D Mario game. I mean, they could release a new 3D Mario game at the end of this year for the Switch 2 and be completely fine until next year. I mean, people are not going to think about another game if it's, you know, what the rumors are saying, a 3D open world Mario game, the first one ever. That would be monumental, and I think people would be playing this game for multiple months. It would cater to everybody, you know, everybody in the family, kids, adults, you know, young adults. Everyone's going to want to play this Mario game. It's going to be massive. So why in the world would Nintendo not just go with this Mario game? Well, maybe the Mario game isn't ready yet. There is a very good chance that the dev team needed a little bit more time, so they just said, you know what, we're going to need more time for this Mario game, which means we're going to ultimately need to push the Switch 2 back. That is one of the few things I can think of, because if this Mario game was ready, I think they still would have went with this holiday. I think it just makes the most sense, but, you know, maybe it's not ready, and maybe they needed a little bit more time, because let's just face it, this is the launch title for the new console. It makes the most sense. This would have the most impact on sales. This would be the smartest thing for Nintendo to do. Breath of the Wild was a huge launch title for Nintendo, and what would be bigger than Zelda? Of course, the man Mario himself. And to make him in an open world game as well, the same way they did with Zelda Breath of the Wild, if this really is a gigantic open world 3D Mario adventure game, I kid you not, it has the chance to be one of the best selling video games of all time. I am going to put it out there. I know it's too early to say that, but just think about it. A huge open world 3D Mario game, the first one ever on Nintendo's brand new Switch 2 hardware. It's just setting itself up to be amazing. You know, with these type of games, I mean, really any game in general, Nintendo isn't big on like rushing their games. You know, they take as much time as they can, and especially with a new Mario or a new Zelda, they're gonna take a very long time to make sure that the game is perfect and it's working flawlessly. I mean, I can't tell you how I don't think I've ever ran into any glitches or, you know, laggy moments or anything weird in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or even in Super Mario Odyssey. They've been pretty much flawless for me, and that is just because Nintendo is a mastercraft organization where they take their time to make sure things are done completely right, and that's probably what they're doing right now with this new Mario game. They just said, you know what, we probably could get away with it, but let's just push it back to next year to be safe, to give us a couple extra months in order to get this thing ready. And, you know, I can't even be mad about it. If that's the case, then awesome. But at the same time, we should hear about it soon then, if that's the case. If this game is coming at the beginning of next year for the launch of the Switch 2, we should be getting news, I would say, at least around the summertime, where E3 normally is. That would make the most sense. But it goes further than 3D Mario, because I feel like Nintendo wants to line up big games after the other, kind of like they did in 2017. And still, in my head, I feel like Nintendo has never beat that presentation. Like, 2017 started off amazing with all the announcements in that presentation, and just continue to release a new game like every couple of months. So I hope Nintendo's maybe planning for something like that, because like maybe they could have 3D Mario as a launch title in March, and then a couple months later in like May, boom, Metroid Prime 4. They're like, man, you know what? You guys have been waiting for Donkey Kong. Here's a big either 3D or 2D Donkey Kong game coming in the summer. Boom, there's your June or July game. And then you're like, what in the world could be the holiday game of next year? And it's just like, boom, come on, Mario Kart. It's been forever since Mario Kart 8 originally launched on the Wii U. It's time for the next Mario Kart game. And the rumors are even suggesting from the very beginning that it was going to be around 2025. So Nintendo has a chance to have a year finally, in my eyes, better than 2017. Yes, I mean, I just think a big Metroid Prime 4 game, a brand new 3D open world Mario game, a brand new Mario Kart, maybe something Donkey Kong related, on top of Pokemon Legends Z. Oh my goodness, and that's just like the main games. There could be some smaller little titles sprinkled in there as well. Maybe some more ports, remakes, or remasters that they never got to on the original Switch, or maybe just some, you know, little spin-offs like a Mario Party or sports game or something like that. All those games in the first year of Switch 2 could be monumental and a monstrous start for Nintendo. I don't think any company is touching them in 2025 if this is the case. So yeah, that Pokemon Presents just kind of solidified it to me that this year is pretty much just filler until we can get to the big stuff for next year, which means we'll probably still get a really big announcement trailer of this new console very soon, with the new games being shown off to get us hyped for next year, which is still very exciting. This year's going to have some exciting stuff nevertheless, but as far as actual games releasing, it's going to be smaller, which is completely fine because I know a lot of people are still trying to get through backlogs, myself included. I am completely swamped, so I'm okay with that. But yes, I'm just looking for some announcements and some stuff to get us hyped, because we love to speculate and be excited for the new Mario game, or excited for the new Mario Kart or Metroid, and it's just stuff to get us talking. So hopefully Nintendo is going to announce something soon. We're just going to have to wait and see.